Have you ever faced someone in life who constantly criticizes you, tries to pull you down, spreads negativity, or simply wants to see you fail? Many people believe the only way to deal with enemies is through confrontation, arguments, or revenge. But in reality, fighting often makes the situation worse and drains your peace, your energy, and your focus. What if the real victory is not defeating someone with anger, but rising above them with wisdom? In this video, we are going to solve a very common problem: how to deal with enemies, negativity, and people who try to hurt you without losing your peace of mind. Because sometimes the most powerful way to defeat an enemy is not by fighting them, but by changing the way you respond to them. Today, we will explore 5 powerful ways to defeat your enemies without fighting, and these lessons can protect your peace, strengthen your character, and help you grow stronger than the negativity around you. One of the greatest victories in life is learning how to control your reactions. Many people believe their enemy defeats them through words, criticism, or unfair behavior. But in truth, the real damage happens when we allow those actions to control our emotions. When someone criticizes you, insults you, or tries to provoke you, they are often hoping for one thing: a reaction. They want to see anger, frustration, or emotional chaos because your reaction gives them power over you. The moment you lose control of your emotions, the situation stops being about their behavior and becomes about your reaction. Think about a simple example. Imagine someone throws a small stone into a calm lake. If the water is disturbed easily, the ripples spread everywhere. But if the lake is deep and steady, the stone sinks quietly without causing much disturbance. Your mind works the same way. When your emotional stability is shallow, even small criticism can create large waves of anger or sadness. But when your mind is steady and disciplined, negativity loses its ability to disturb you. Most people react immediately without thinking. A harsh comment leads to an instant argument. A criticism leads to an instant argument. A criticism leads to retaliation. In that moment, we believe we are protecting our pride, but in reality, we believe we are giving our peace away. Mastering your reactions does not mean becoming weak or silent in every situation. It simply means choosing balloons on the street. It simply means choosing when and how to respond instead of reacting impulsively. When you pause before responding, you create space for wisdom to guide your actions. A calm response has a surprising effect. It often confuses the person who expected an emotional reaction. When someone throws negativity at you and you respond with patience or calmness, the situation loses the fuel that keeps it burning. Arguments grow when both sides add emotional fire. When one side refuses to feed the fire, it slowly fades. There is also a deeper benefit to mastering your reactions. You begin protecting your mental energy. Every argument, every emotional outburst, and every unnecessary conflict drains energy that could have been used for growth, creativity, or meaningful work. When you stop reacting to every provocation, you free your mind from constant tension. This does not happen overnight. Emotional discipline is a skill that develops through awareness and practice. The next time someone says something that triggers you, take a brief pause. That pause is powerful. In that moment, you can choose whether the situation deserves your energy or not. Over time, people begin to notice something different about you. They realize that their attempts to provoke you no longer work. The person who once tried to disturb your peace loses interest because their strategy stops producing results. When you master your reactions, you take away the greatest weapon your enemy has, the ability to control your emotions. Instead of becoming trapped in endless conflicts, you rise above them with calmness and clarity. Your peace remains intact. Your energy stays focused on growth, and the negativity around you slowly loses its influence over your life. One of the most powerful ways to defeat your enemies is not through words, arguments, or retaliation, but by focusing on your own growth and letting your achievements do the talking. Many people waste their energy trying to prove themselves in the moment, defending every mistake, explaining every choice, or responding to every choice, or responding to every criticism. But true victory comes quietly, not from confrontation, but from creating results so compelling that they speak louder than any argument ever could. When someone tries to belittle you, doubts you, or spreads negativity about you, it can feel tempting to respond immediately. You want them to see that they are wrong. You want them to understand your worth. You want to prove yourself in front of them and perhaps the world. But in most cases, this approach backfires. Your explanations, no matter how logical or heartfelt, often invite further debate, more scrutiny, and more emotional strain. You end up investing energy in them instead of in yourself. Instead, redirect that energy toward building your life, achieving your goals, and cultivating your skills. Focus on what you can control: your work ethic, your mindset, your consistency, and your integrity. When you devote yourself to meaningful actions and produce results, you create a reality that cannot be denied. Success is indisputable. It does not need justification. It is visible, tangible, and undeniable. Think about historical figures, leaders, or ordinary people who were doubted, criticized, or underestimated. They could have spent their time arguing, complaining, or responding to every negative voice. Instead, they chose to focus on their work, their craft, and their growth. Their enemies' doubts became irrelevant because the results of their actions were undeniable. The success itself became the response, louder and more effective than any words. There is a subtle but profound wisdom in this approach. When your success speaks, you do not need to expend emotional energy on conflict. You do not need to react to every attack. You do not need to convince anyone of your worth. The work you do consistently and the achievements you earn become your voice. And in that voice lies authority, confidence, and influence far greater than any argument could ever produce. This principle also applies to everyday life. In relationships, in your career, or in personal goals, people may doubt your intentions or abilities. They may question your choices or spread criticism. Rather than trying to change their minds immediately or defend yourself endlessly, focus on actions that will demonstrate your strength, deliver quality in your work, show integrity in your interactions, pursue growth relentlessly. The consistency of these efforts gradually silences critics. Another benefit of letting success speak, that it creates long-term influence. Words are temporary. They can be forgotten, misinterpreted, or dismissed. Achievements are lasting. When you focus on producing meaningful results, you create a legacy of competence and reliability. People begin to respect you, not because you argued well, but because your actions consistently align with your values and abilities. This approach also protects your peace of mind by channeling energy into growth and accomplishment. Rather than conflict, you prevent unnecessary stress, resentment, and frustration. You rise above pettiness, and your life becomes guided by purpose rather than reaction. You begin to realize that success is the quietest and most effective form of victory, one that does not require confrontation but produces undeniable results. Ultimately, letting your success speak is about living your life so fully and meaningfully that negativity around you becomes powerless. It is about proving through action, not words, that your energy, focus, and dedication are unstoppable. Your energy, focus, and dedication are unstoppable. When you achieve this, your enemies' doubts, criticisms, and attacks lose their hold. And the most powerful message you can send is the one written through your accomplishments. One of the most overlooked ways to defeat your enemies is by refusing to carry their negativity. People who want to harm you, whether through criticism, gossip, or manipulation, often rely on one thing: your energy. They want you to feel angry, frustrated, or anxious, because those emotions give their actions power. The moment you allow their negativity to enter your mind, their influence begins to take hold, and you become trapped in a cycle of stress and reaction. Refusing to carry negativity doesn't mean ignoring reality or pretending problems don't exist. It means choosing not to absorb emotional poison from others. You acknowledge what happened, you process it calmly, and then you let it go. When someone tries to provoke you, your silence and composure act like armor. They can say what they want, but your inner peace remains untouched. This is one of the quietest and most powerful forms of victory. Think of your mind as a garden. Negative words, envy, or hostility from others are like weeds trying to take root. If you spend all your energy obsessing over them, pulling them out one by one in frustration, the weeds grow faster and crowd out your growth. But if you focus on planting seeds of wisdom, patience, and positivity, those weeds lose their space and eventually wither on their own by refusing to nurture negativity. You ensure your inner garden thrives no matter what others throw at you. Most people fail at this because they misunderstand what it means to let go. Letting go is not weakness, it is strength. It is not passivity, it is self-control. When you hold on to anger or resentment, you are essentially giving someone else control over your emotional state. You allow their behavior to dictate your happiness by consciously deciding not to carry the weight of their negativity. You reclaim that control. This principle also works in relationships and professional environments. Some people will constantly complain, criticize, or attempt to manipulate. If you react to every word or action, you enter into endless conflict. But if you observe, acknowledge, and then release, you prevent the situation from disturbing your peace. Over time, these individuals may grow frustrated because their usual tactics no longer provoke the reaction they expect. You have won quietly without a confrontation. Another key aspect is self-awareness. Notice when negativity begins to influence your thoughts. Often it sneaks in subtly a thought of resentment, a desire for revenge, or a replay of someone's harsh words. The moment you catch yourself dwelling Remind yourself that their negativity is theirs to carry, not yours. Your focus belongs to your goals, your growth and your peace. Finally, refusing to carry negativity is a practice of emotional freedom. It allows you to live without being dictated by the moods, judgments, or envy of others. It strengthens your resilience, protects your mind, and gradually teaches your enemies that their attempts to control or disturb you are futile. Victory through emotional mastery is invisible, quiet, and unassailable, and yet it is more enduring than any battle fought with words or force. One of the most powerful ways to defeat your enemies is not by engaging with them, arguing, or trying to prove a point, but by growing so much that their opinions, actions, or criticisms no longer matter. The more you focus on your own development, your skills, your mindset, and your character, the less energy is left for negativity to affect you. When you become bigger than the problems around you, those problems naturally shrink in significance. Many people spend their lives reacting to the world around them. They focus on what others say, what others do, or what others think. Every comment or criticism becomes a trigger. Every comment or criticism becomes a trigger. Every insult, a wound. Every attack, a distraction. But the truth is that your life is meant for creation, not reaction. When you focus on growing, learning, and improving yourself, you shift your attention from the noise outside to the power inside. Growth becomes your silent weapon, your shield, and your message to the world. Consider someone who dedicates themselves to excellence. To excellence, they improve their skills, build meaningful relationships, cultivate wisdom, and stay disciplined. In this process, the people who once tried to hurt them lose influence because the growth of the individual is undeniable. Success, character, and composure are louder than criticism or attack. Their life becomes proof that negativity has no power over someone who is committed to self-improvement. Growth also changes perspective. When you are growing, you no longer see the world as a battlefield where every word is a battlefield, where